All right, let's talk about spreadsheets. We're going to dive into one simple habit. Honestly, it's so simple. That's going to make any spreadsheet you build like 10 times better. We're talking about turning those messy files into something clear, powerful, and basically error-proof. It only takes a few minutes, but trust me, the payoff is absolutely huge. Let's jump in.
Okay, be honest. Have you ever felt like you're an archaeologist? Right? You're digging through a spreadsheet that you made maybe 6 months ago, and it's a complete mystery. Or even worse, one your coworker sends over. You're just staring at it thinking, where do these numbers even come from? What am I supposed to change? If I click this one cell, is the whole thing going to explode? It's so frustrating, and man, does it waste a lot of time.
So the expectation, the dream, right, is this beautiful, clear model that just works. It makes perfect sense. But the reality? Oh, the reality is often this nightmare of mystery numbers, formulas that are broken, and all these hidden rules you're supposed to magically know. The numbers don't tie out, you have no clue what's an input and what's a calculation. It feels less like a helpful tool and more like a booby trap waiting to go off.
But here's the good news. There is a super simple way to bring some order to all that chaos. It's called worksheet documentation. And I know, that sounds kind of formal and boring, doesn't it? But really, all it is the simple practice of leaving a clear instruction manual inside your spreadsheet. So what does that actually mean? Okay, think of it like this. You know when you buy furniture from IKEA, it comes with that little instruction booklet? That's exactly what this is. It's a simple guide, usually on its very own tab that you call README, and it just explains the most important pieces of the puzzle. Things like, what is this sheet even for? How do I actually use it? Where did you get this data? And how are the big numbers calculated? The whole point is to get rid of all the guesswork. And this right here is maybe the most important part. You're not just doing this for your coworkers or your boss. Nope. You're doing it for future you. Because let's be real, 6 months from now, are you going to remember all the little details and that brilliant piece of logic you came up with today? No way. Good documentation is like a gift you send forward in time to yourself. Future you will thank you for it, I promise.
Okay, so what actually goes into one of these README tabs? What makes it great? Let's break down the blueprint for a perfect one.
First up, you gotta cover the absolute basics. We're talking the who, what, and when. Just a quick sentence on the purpose. What does this thing do? Who's the owner? Like, who do you bug if it breaks? And when was it last updated? You also want to be clear about who it's for. And this next one is so important. A clear map of inputs versus outputs. In other words, here's where you type your stuff, and here are the cells you should never, ever touch. Just doing that one thing will save you from so many headaches.
All right, next, you got to tell the story behind the data. Where did this information come from? And be specific. Put in the links to the files or the systems. And what are the big assumptions you're making? You know, like a 5% growth rate or a 20% tax rate. Just write it down. A data dictionary is also a game changer. It just sounds fancy. Think of it as a little glossary for your spreadsheet. It defines what your column headers actually mean, so COGS means the same thing to everybody. And finally, a version log. A simple history of what's changed and when. This stuff builds so much trust.
Then there's this thing called a calculations map. Again, sounds way more complicated than it is. It's not a real map. It's just a simple, plain English sentence or two that explains how the numbers flow through the workbook. You're literally just saying something like, hey, the data from sheet A flows into the formulas on sheet B, and that spits out the final answer on sheet C. That's it. It just connects the dots so people can follow the logic.
Okay, so all this theory is great, right? But let's make it real. Let's see what this looks like out in the wild with a couple of concrete examples.
All right, first example, a teacher's gradebook. Imagine you're sharing this with a bunch of teaching assistants. Well, the instructions would be crystal clear. Hey, TAs, you only enter scores in the yellow cells. Simple, right? That prevents so many accidents. Then, under assumptions, you'd spell out the rules for late penalties or how grades are rounded. That makes grading fair for everyone. And you can even build in little quality checks, like a rule that flags any score over 100. It's just a simple way to create a system that's totally reliable.
Okay, how about a small business budget? This is a big one. Under data sources, you'd say something like revenue numbers are pulled from the sales export.csv file. That way, everyone is working from the same source of truth. The data dictionary, that's where you define all those business acronyms, like COGS or OPEX, and that changelog is gold. Look at that example. Updated tax rate to 22% per CPA guidance. Now you know exactly why that number changed. This is what makes your financial model something you can actually stand behind.
So, as you can see, this isn't just about being tidy. It's not busy work. That tiny bit of time you invest up front, it delivers some huge returns. Let's quickly run through the 6 big wins you get from this.
Number 1, Handoffs and onboarding get so much faster. I mean, think about it. A new person joins your team. Instead of you spending hours or even days walking them through your confusing spreadsheet, they just open the file, read the README tab for 5 minutes, and boom, they get it. They can actually start helping out right away.
Number 2, you get way fewer costly errors. It's just common sense, right? When it's obvious where to type and what the assumptions are, people are so much less likely to accidentally delete a critical formula or use the model the wrong way. This isn't just about avoiding frustration, it can literally save a project from a massive costly mistake.
Number 3, trust and auditability go way up. The next time your boss looks at a number and asks, "Hey, where did this come from?" you're not going to panic. You'll just calmly say, "Great question. It's all laid out in the README tab." That kind of transparency makes your work so much more credible. People can see your logic, and they trust your results.
Number 4, your work becomes way easier to reuse and scale. You're basically creating a perfect template for yourself. 6 months from now, when you have to build something similar, you don't start from scratch. No way. You just grab this well-documented file, make a copy, and tweak it. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Number 5 is all about continuity over time. And yeah, we're back to helping out future you. A great README tab is like a time capsule of your thinking. It lets you pick up a project you haven't touched in a year and get right back up to speed because you left yourself the breadcrumbs to follow.
And number 6, the big one. It all leads to better, more defensible decisions. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what spreadsheets are for, right? When you are crystal clear on your data, your assumptions, and your logic, the decisions that come out of that spreadsheet are just fundamentally stronger. You can stand by them.
So, are you convinced yet? The best part about all this is that you can start this habit literally right now, in under 5 minutes. Let me show you how.
No, seriously, this is all it takes. Just open up any spreadsheet you have, right now. Add a new tab, name it README, then just type out a few sections: purpose, owner, and last updated. Then maybe add data sources and a quick how to use. Jot down 1 sentence for each. That's it. You're done. You've just made your spreadsheet 1,000 times better.
And hey, once you get that basic habit down, you can start adding some pro-level touches. Things like using consistent colors, blue for input cells, black for formulas. You can lock the sheets with all your calculations so nobody can mess them up by accident, or just add little comments to cells that have tricky formulas. These are tiny little things that create massive amounts of clarity.
So I want you to think for a second. What's that one spreadsheet you have sitting on your computer? You know the one. The messy one, the super complicated one that you're almost afraid to open. That's your target. I want you to go open that file right now, add a README tab, and spend just 5 minutes rescuing it. Do it for your team, but more importantly, do it for your future self. So, what's the first spreadsheet you're going to go rescue?